많이 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 모닝 LPI.
We are now in our final match of the evening here at the SSL Classic for Week 5. It is going to be effort against, who am I missing here? Rain.
Yeah, and it could very well be our best match of the night. Rain has been super solid. Really has only had SSL to practice. He's been playing in a couple of other online star leagues as well, but mostly focusing on SSL, and I think it really shows. He's had really solid play, very unique styles, some aggressive rushes, but also very solid macro as well. And he's going to be going up against Effort, a guy who a lot of people malign because he has never made it very far in ASL, and indeed his run was stopped short in the round of 16 a little bit earlier on this week, but I think his level of play is just so insane. Somehow he just always draws the short straw and has to be the great pro gamer that has to die so we can have these great games where he loses, but still looking really, really strong coming into tonight's games.
He definitely has always high expectations on him after his OSL victory, and you know, he's been kind of plagued with a lot of unlucky circumstances since then.
Not by defilers, but by the actual games.
Yes, and he's exactly. You know, family problems, the OGN debacle, etc. So he's always been like, there's been so much pressure on him. He played StarCraft 2 for a little while. Was actually really good in StarCraft 2. Played on CJ, and then switched back to Brood War, and everyone's like, oh, he's back. And it was always this, he's going to do so well, and he has to do well. He's so amazing, and he won at the end of the Kespa era, but he just never lived up to the hype, I feel like, in terms of his performances. So people have always been very disappointed with Effort, but obviously, we're in this new era now, and there's a lot of time and a lot of leagues to get back up to where you were before in terms of Effort's past results. But Rain, on the other hand, has disappointed virtually no one. He didn't have the best ASL this season, but for playing StarCraft 2 and being at the top tier of StarCraft 2 when he moved back to Brood War, this guy has not disappointed. It's almost like he was practicing Brood War instead of StarCraft 2 there at the end.
Yeah, as far as results, I mean, this is Mr. Results. From StarCraft 2, he dominated. And then coming back even to StarCraft 1, he's just looked super solid. There's nothing, no real flaws that you can find in Rain's play, other than maybe strategical weakness towards the mid to late game. But I'm actually just going to be really excited if we make it there, because we've had so many early game rushes so far.
Well, we got to see late game ZVZ, basically.
Okay, I mean, I feel like late game ZVZ, you've got all sorts of stuff going on, but this guy is one of the original architects of late game ZVZs, along with Zero Effort, on a hot streak, taking out Sock, Free, Sulky, and now he's coming up against one of the best Protoss players in the SSL in Rain.
He had a really great game against Free, showing us how to play late game and just look to be the better player overall in that, I want to say series, but in that game. These are best of ones, and he's won now one map in every matchup. He's won the ZVP, the ZVT, and then the ZVZ. So looks now to take another win in the ZVP matchup. As we move into our final map, we'll be on match point, so the two-player map here. Not the largest map in the pool, so we'll see if he goes for an early rush. Let's go into game number 4, the final match of the evening.
Of course, a big thanks to our sponsors, Jin Air, and of course to everyone else out there watching. If you tuned in, you picked a good time. Our purple Protoss player is going to be Rain. His opponent in the white this time will be Effort, and Effort, a lot to prove. If you guys didn't catch Effort's last PVZ, it was against Bisu in the finals of his group in ASL, and it was one of the sickest games I have ever seen. Oh my god, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it, because now he has another PVZ against an almost equally strong Protoss opponent.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see how this one's going to play out, because on match point we could see, for example, Hydra's all in, sort of bust attempt. So we'll see exactly how Effort wants to play it, because in this matchup, kind of, in most cases, there are a few all-ins a Protoss can do, but it's mostly the Zerg that actually has the control as to how the game is going to go. The Pross will get his Corsairs out, push the Overlords off, do some DT harassment if possible, and look to defend. And what the Zerg techs to is always the scary thing. It's mostly going to be Hydras into Lurkers, but how many Hydras does he commit to? Does he get the extra hatchery to go for the all-in, or does he tech up to Hive Tech faster? We've even been seeing the rise of Plague in this matchup, despite the fact that it's not necessarily as good as other abilities. Oh, he wants to block this.
He was trying. Sometimes you see Protoss of value putting their probe to block the expansion. I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't see that. Not sure why we're taking a look at Effort's face, other than to see what he looks like.
Yeah, he's very handsome.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yes, he has never aged.
For some reason, Effort kind of looks like he could be like the star of like a Korean StarCraft movie to me. Well, he's like the speed racer of the RTS movie.
Well, we definitely had a few speed racer players so far tonight.
That's for sure.
Okay, pool coming down after hatchery. So I think that was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Probably a 9 hatch. Very early, going to be having a pool immediately after that, and fast expansion here for Rain. And you know, I've heard a lot of casters, mostly Tastes, talk about how fast expanding is Protoss. It was kind of considered a cheese a lot of time because you shouldn't be able to get away with it against a Zerg who scouts it and then rushes you. But over time, Protoss players just got so good at defending and avoiding getting crushed at their natural, that it became a little bit more of a common opening. Indeed, there's that Forge finishing. Start to see some cannons come up.
It's also quite an important thing is the map as well. Some maps really, back in the old times, did not allow for fast expand because you would just get crushed because of the short rush distance, or like the wide wall, or the impossibility of a wall in. And you've seen players try to wall in with their Nexus, for example, but with Hydras being the follow-up attack, it's always risky. So Everett does take his hyper-fast third base here, which is often indicative that he wants to do a big Hydra follow-up attack. This is important for Rain to identify early.
Yeah, also important for Effort to deny this scouting information. That's why a lot of times you'll see tech structures thrown down at a different base, just so that if there is a probe scouting in the main, you don't reveal it. And a lot of times you see that Bisu style of Corsair DT. There's an option that the Zerg player has if he's not scouted, where he can try to get a critical mass of Mutalisks before Corsairs come out, then totally dominate the air game, and then all of a sudden, Protoss is left with much fewer options.
Sure, I mean, have you ever tried, viewers, to defend Mutalisks with Dragoons?
Yeah, no, that doesn't work, guys. Turns out you have the most mobile unit in Brood War versus the least mobile. It's not going to work out. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure Reavers would have a better chance. But,
the Scarab just does a wheelie and takes off into the stratosphere.
Yeah, just like that drone yesterday.
Be free.
Man.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember that drone. Yeah, so finally going to see the third base come up, and really interested in what tech we're going to see. Already teching Delaire, so Rain knows about that, but really good probe control, keeping that alive in the main.
Yeah, the Stargate comes up, which is a shot to no one.
Nope.
So he just sees that. He's like, oh, okay, you weren't doing the 5 gateway all in? He's like, okay, all right.
Okay.
This is, he's like, I want this probe out of here.
How many Zerglings do you have to invest into killing one Protoss
Scouts
probe?
the Spire, actually, very early on here. We'll see if he actually commits to Mutalisk, because it's not necessarily for that at all. It could just be to deny Corsairs.
How good is Rain's probe control?
This good.
Yeah, 5 minutes is the sort of the are you really good at probe control? And he just about hit the 5-minute mark, so keeps it alive for a long time. Scouts that Spire coming up, and most likely will be for Scourge to deal with any number of Corsairs that come out. But it looks like with the Citadel coming up, we could either see the fast Zealot legs, most likely DTs on the way.
We'll see if the third base gets a gas very soon. That's really the big tell if he wants to do a heavy commitment to Mutalisk, since he has not done that yet. In fact, doesn't even have the gas in his natural. I really think it is going to be, as you said, the more likely Scourge defense. With the heavy Ling commitment, he actually wants to trap the Zealot, and I believe he will.
Zealots are coated in butter, man. It always surprises me how they are able to get out from almost perfect surrounds. Turns out walls are a little bit difficult to rub up against, and Zerglings will take out a Zealot, which is always nice.
So the first Corsair is out, and he's just going to push the Overlords away and also look for the Scout on the third base. You can click the minerals and see how quick or how long that's been up. So I think the Spire is not really going to be used all too much. He's hiding the Hydralisk Den now, so let's see if he wants to give it to a big Hydra follow-up. He is getting the Evolution Chamber, which is a pretty big tell. He's going to upgrade those early on. You don't want that for your lurkers. You wouldn't rush it out this soon unless you wanted to do something aggressive.
Yeah, now no more Corsairs being produced. I think he just got 2 out and is using the 2 patrol for Overlords. And a few Scourge out there as well. No real big problems there. You're going to see 1 Spore thrown up in the, I think it was 3rd base or main, just to make sure that no crazy run-bys happen for those Corsairs. And they will eventually get 1 Overlord, so not totally worthless. But here come the Scourge, perfectly cloned.
Well, if he actually loses these Corsairs to kill this Overlord and doesn't micro, that will definitely be way better trade for effort.
Needs 1 more to hit. Perfect control there. Oh my god, but he will actually...
If he saves this, that's really nicely done. Wow.
So
all things considered, too, I mean, the fact that you didn't even know about this. Oh, I think Zealot legs are actually about to finish with +1, so these Zealots can do a lot of damage. I'm not entirely sure if Effort has realized that this is what's coming his way.
So Effort actually overcommitted. Yeah, that is that leg rush that I was talking about earlier. And speed +1 Zealots. +1 might actually be done here in just a second. He's going in before it completes. And this might not be a +1. Just Zealot legs, very, very important. Just kind of like Zergling speed. Allows you to position them a lot better. And now get in between his middle line. Perfect drone drill will glitch out these Zealots.
The Zealots will have some trouble. Here comes the second wave. Zealots will kill basically everything, though, that they will face. And
there's that +1. It's complete.
Completes, and now this Sunken Colony is going to go down. There's no Hydras here. It's just Lings for the defense, which obviously these +1 Zealots are going to do so well against. Killing so many drones. Looks like he made a bunch of drones with that last cycle of Larva. Going to get this Sunken as well, and more and more Zealots rally across the map. This may actually start to break Effort. He just doesn't have enough.
Yeah, look at how many more Zealots are on their way. +1 with legs and no...
Oh, the Sunken lives with 12 health!
Holy cow, now there's no way to heal that. It might go down, but look at the wall of drones!
The drone micro here is real.
Oh my god, incredible drone control. Now finally Zergling coming out. Those should be able to kill out these Zealots. There are 3 more coming across the map right now, but tons of Zerglings and now Hydras morphing into Lurkers.
Okay, so he did commit to the Lurker tech. He's been just using pure Lings to deal with this so far. You see the extra commitment of cannons here.
Oh, but look, also, Rain's pooling Corsairs in his main, so this is not going to be his way to win the game just with these Zealots. It's to put on a bunch of pressure, force out a lot of Zerglings, and then none of those hit air.
Yep. He's going to have a few Lurkers coming across the map, though, with the Hydras. He did commit a lot to the Photon Cannon, so you should be fine against this initially. This is just so much damage from these Zealots. Forcing so many Lings as well, as you mentioned, that aren't going to be too useful, and now he's just tossing these Lings in. Yeah,
he's got double cannons at the front door. A lot of times Protoss players try to skimp on the cannons and just go for 1. Nice to see commitment to 2. Lurkers sieging up the front door, but there's going to be a ton of Corsairs about to bust out.
Yeah, High Templar does not have Storm yet, but will soon.
Here comes the DT.
Here comes this attack. Once again, the Creep Colony well positioned to make that Sunken, so it's unhittable. We saw this same map last time. It's just like so hard to kill that base. It's basically not going to happen once the Lurkers are placed there too.
6 and 12, very, very easy to defend. DT is on top of these Lurkers, but there's still no way to reveal them until they do unburrow. And there they go, moving forward, trying to take out these cannons. There is a 3rd one from behind. Lurkers starting to fall there. That DT will be able to take them out.
He wants to kill that cannon. That's going to stop the detection here. Okay, actually the Lurker lives. The Observatory isn't ready. This actually could be disastrous, but he can't really move it forward. So this is defended for the time being as more Zealots pop out.
It will also reveal those Corsairs, importantly enough. So now Effort knows he's got to get some anti-air up. He's actually pulling the Corsairs back for some reason. I think this is the time to strike.
Oh, he's just going to clear up these annoying Scourge because 1 was killed. The shuttle actually survives. It takes 2 to kill that. He's actually sending more in. Let's see if he realizes this. Oh, wow. This is actually a huge commitment of Scourge to try to kill that shuttle.
All right, so now what we're going to see, I think those were Dark Templars loaded up into the shuttle, not High Templars. There are still some back at base, but these Scourge are going to be what matters.
Oh, no, they run right past the unloads shuttle. Immediately. It is Dark Temple, like you said, but this is the critical mass of Corsair that can basically just kill the Scourge immediately. Now there's no detection, obviously, anywhere nearby to deal with these DTs. You remade the Forge, so he's continuing to upgrade these units. It just feels like everything Effort is throwing at Rain right now is just getting shut down. Photon Cannon replaced here. He's just making more and more Lings back at home as he's teched to the Queen's Nest so he can get a Hive soon.
Also making a bunch of lurkers back at home, so that will be able to defend against Infinity Zealots.
Yeah, that third base especially.
But it's all going to be about whether or not Effort can save his Overlords here. A decent amount of Corsairs taken. I think those 3-shot Overlords with 5 of them. If they all do follow, finally the shuttle gets taken out, but the DTs have already been dropped.
Yeah, he does have a Spore in the main base, so I don't think that he can actually commit to this. If he wants to target that down, there's just going to be too many Lings. Plus the fact that there are still some Overlords nearby. Yeah, he's got a Spore here as well, so despite the commitment to this heavy, even +1 Corsair, just not enough to find any further damage. But he has total control of the map, as you mentioned.
Lings flooding into this third base will force a cancel. Nothing there to save that. Targeting down the pylons, interestingly enough, instead of going for that Nexus. Yeah, pressure on the third base there. Effort continuing to be active across the map.
They use Zealots actually as well, despite being in good position between the pylon and the Nexus. Are cleaned up. Here comes the detection to finally clean up these DTs. They're pretty efficient though. Several kills on both of those. Either way, this third base is actually forced to cancel. I assume he got the cancel on that.
He did.
Because he was right here looking at these units. No observer nearby. But he's actually going to pick up and leave because he knows one's definitely on the way. Looking to trap this lurker here. Well done. Gets him before he gets to the burrow.
Yeah, beautiful body block there with those Zealots. One lone DT does survive in the base, but Effort has solidified his hold on those 3 bases. He's continuing to tech up. I think he does have at least 1 upgrade about to finish. Yeah, okay, the Evo Chamber is moving. I was a little bit off on that call last game, but I see it moving. It's doing the Evo Chamber dance. We'll find out what's coming out for Zergling. For lots of Corsairs, though. Oh my god, that must be like 9 Corsairs.
Yeah, this is actually highly unusual to see this commitment of Corsairs, but when you're left with enough room to do so and you've killed so many Scourge that have just been bleeding off, it's a great way to play the map. We're just going to see this elevator here, but once again, not enough of a defense here. Does he have a Storm? That's a big question. I don't think he does. He's definitely not using it, so there's a cancel once again. He's forced to make Photon Cannons. Corsair harass continues, but this is a big commitment of Zealot Elevator into the main base. There's a lot of defense up at the third, and he does have that Nidus Canal. You better hope he can get lurkers over here. He's going to have a big problem in the main base.
Oh, picking off a High Templar. Oh my god, he's actually going to catch the Archon morphing. This is actually so good for Effort, but he does have to defend against this elevator drop.
Yeah, this is the scariest part, right? And the Observer was not picked off here. He actually migrated back so he can kill that lurker. Oh, no, more and more coming in.
So many drones could go down if that Archon targets it right in the middle. Looks like the Archon's still barely alive, surviving for so long, tanking up that Sunken, but the Zealots might just be too much.
Now the Zealots need to get in here on top of that Sunken. It's doing so much right now for Effort. It looks like it's just too late. And that third base is canceled yet again. Effort has taken, I feel, a really nice position in this game now, just shutting down the third base over and over and over again. Killed the majority of the Corsairs, shut this drop down without too much of a hitch, and another Corsair goes down. There's just not really much left on the map. Looks like just 1.
So 2-1 upgrades for ground units there. Effort really committing to those, making a Zerglings very, very good against Zealots. So a lot of times you get the Zealots +1 because it allows you to 2-hit Zerglings, but then if you get a second armor upgrade, all of a sudden Zerglings just become
He doesn't have enough here. He does not. GG. Effort takes the win. Rain looks real frustrated in the booth. His Forge also, let's not forget, we didn't talk about this. They're having to replace his Forge and move it. Really delayed his +2 for his Zealots, which caused a big problem because of the upgrades you were just talking about on the Zerglings. An Effort won this game almost with Pure Zergling and Scourge to deal with the Corsairs. An unusual commitment to the Corsairs, which with good protection there with the Spores and the static defense, didn't really get the value for the cost there. Even the commitment to the +1, not enough. And Effort just eventually shut that third base down too many times. I think he got 3 cancels, and that was pretty much all she wrote because he had a great economy, had enough defense there, set up in the main base. That Sunken was not targeted down. It got so many kills. The lurkers were replaced. And a really beautiful game by Effort. Really liked his style there, and I feel like Rain kind of pushed himself in the corner with that almost Corsair cheese. I don't want to call it a cheese, but it was really heavy tech commitment there.
Yeah, so the idea is you pull up a bunch of Corsairs, then you run in, kill all the Overlords, and then DTs come in and kill everything else, except that there were a couple of Spore colonies up. Effort had lurkers back at home to defend. A lot of times you see Zergs just only use lurkers for offense, and Effort did definitely put the pressure on the natural. You can see that Rain just really was never able to keep his bases the way he wanted them. Had his third shut down like 3 or 4 times. Effort just really on top of the entire map.
Yeah, and you know, the DTE idea there feels strong, but he was scouted so early on with how many Corsairs he had too, so it wasn't really kept a secret. Because Scourge came in and flew in, so it's tough to scout with Overlords, obviously, but you want to have some Scourge on the map to kill the Corsairs, and you can use those to go into the main base. Goes in there, he loses them, but he scouts the Corsairs, so he gets that important information.
Right.
He did bleed off a lot of Scourge, but the third base was never pressured until it feels like too late. There were enough heavily upgraded Zerglings. He had the Lurkers to help defend there.
Great Sim City as well. Effort just completely walling off those tiny little choke points.
And you just, as Rain here, if you commit this much to being aggressive and you don't defend your third base against this heavy of a commitment of Lings, you just can't hold it. And we're going to take a look at today's results.
And indeed, here we go. It's a good time to be on the right side of the matchups. Light, Mind, Sulky, and finally Effort. Taking wins there, that means that Mind wait, okay. Am I correct that Mind did win his game earlier? Okay.
Yes, he did.
There we go. Sorry, I was just like way out of whack. So Mind and Effort, the strong gets stronger, up there towards the top of the standings. Light with another victory. I think that's the big surprise of tonight.
I think the other big surprise is Rain started off so strong with the 2-0 with his aggressive play against Terran, but since lost all of his matches, and that was a big shocker, I think, for most, especially after the first two games. And Rain, of course, losing early in the ASL, only has to practice for this tournament, so you would have assumed that he would have been able to tear through this one, but he's definitely been struggling after a great start. And Light taking his second win today. So Hero, sadly, despite having a good opener there, was taken out. He's still at 1-4, and if he loses another one, I believe that will be it for him. He will not be able to make playoffs. So
that's very true.
Next week's match is super important.
If he wins his next two matches and Light, Free, and Sock and Rain struggle, then there's definitely a chance that Hero can make it out. And conversely, I mean, maybe Mind and Effort, they definitely have not locked in their promotion either. If they lose all of the rest of their matches and the players below them win, then there's still a chance that they don't make playoffs.
For the top echelon and the bottom, though, next week is important. Obviously, for the 4-1s, if they win, they'll get their 5th win, and I believe that will lock them into playoffs. But Hero cannot lose any more matches, so needs to make sure that what he brings next week is well prepared. And even though he had a good strategy on his map and he had a massive lead, just felt like he committed too much to the Zerglings there. And Sulky played a beautiful, beautiful game there. He took a lot of risks, and some of the risks he took, for example, like flying his Muse in the main, dodging the other Muse, paid off because Hero couldn't trap and kill them. So took a lot of risks, but that's what you have to do when you're behind. He wins the game, and our matches next week will be Mind versus Free, Rain versus Hero, Sulky versus Sock, and Light versus Effort. A rare day of no mirrors, in fact.
Yeah, so if you guys are afraid of your reflections, then don't worry. Today is the game, or next week are the games for you. And this is just SSL Challenge. The SSL series this season is very, what's the word, multiplicitous. We've got lots of different StarCraft for you to watch. This is SSL Classic, but we also have SSL Premier and Challenge, both coming up, although they are starting to wind down a little bit as we get into our second phases for those tournaments.
That's right. So we'll take a look at those matches here in just a moment, I believe, as they will be on Saturday and on Monday.
If you guys do want to come down to the studio, you can see the link to buy tickets there, ticketlink.co.kr. A little bit difficult to navigate, but you can find the matches there. You can always show up to the studio in person and purchase tickets. It is very easy to do. If you need to or want to watch the broadcast in English, you can do that here as well. And here are the matchups we were talking about for SSL Challenge and Premier.
Yeah, I would say if you're hoping to get tickets here in the studio, especially for Premier, because it gets packed, show up about 30 minutes before the broadcast at 6:30. You should be okay. If there's a crazy match when we get into playoffs, you might want to show up a little bit earlier than that. But yeah, for Premier, it's sometimes Classic. It pops off in terms of viewers. Don't forget that Challenge, of course, is, even though the players are here offline and you guys are here with your really fancy clothes, the viewers cannot come down to the studio to watch. Got to watch that one at home online, so get a lot of tweets about that every day. No viewing for Challenge, only Premier and Classic. And I don't know if it'll pop up on screen. It sometimes does. The GSL is ongoing every Wednesday and Saturday. You can go to the Freak Up Studio, Google that, and you'll be able to find it. It's near Samsung Station, so look that up if you want to check out some more StarCraft action. Tap it in. 4 times a week offline. So
yeah, it's actually just so crazy how much StarCraft there is going on. A total of 5 different StarCraft tournaments all at the same time. It's a good time to be a StarCraft fan in South Korea or wherever you are. We do want to thank everybody for watching online out there. I know it's a little bit hard to find the stream sometimes, but do want to encourage you to share the stream link with your friends. Get everybody watching more StarCraft. Make the world a better place.
That's right. I know it's on YouTube, so it's a little bit tougher for people to find it, but do get that link out there for everybody. Post it on Reddit, Team Liquid, etc. Get people in this stream. That's going to be it for us, for myself and Rapid. We'll see you guys next week for more SSL Classic.